Hello, everybody, and welcome. If destruction be your lot, um, this book was okay. Not the best, but it was okay. Before I begin, please give me the hearts for likes and smash the thumbs up for the love. If you if you so do choose to be, let's go ahead and jump right into this issue. Shall we? Okay. Um, the beginning of the book it kind of confusing. It gets you confused for a little bit. What I mean by confused, I mean that it has a slow start to get to where it should be by midway of the book. It's this robotic entity, or should I say, this robot type human look robot name is Abe, and he's kind of like caught up in a situation between robots and humans. He has the sense to see if they are humans still alive. That was his situation as far as what he believes in. And a lot of the robots that's made don't believe anything he says, so most of them just pushing him around thinking that he's lying. Some of them gave him a name that they called me. They say he's a fake robot. That's what they call him. Most of the robots that's out there, they call him fake because they don't believe he is a robot. But he's actually a new form of a robot. He doesn't look anything like any of the robots that I've seen in this issue so far. Most of them just like flat out robots with different shaped bodies, different shaped heads. They all most think the same other than Abe. Abe thinks like he thinks like a human in a sense because he talks like one, but he's not really a human. So he kept getting pushed around by some of the other robots in the book, and he winds up getting into this bus. And this bus, I guess this bus is probably a friend of his, I guess, because and they kept driving all over the city. They started talking about life, what humans used to be like in the post-apocalyptic robot world that's in this issue. Um, as they kept going and kept going and kept going and kept going, uh, they finally get to this city. Well, not the city, but before they get to the city, actually, they want to get to this, and they want to driving, or should I say, riding all the way to this little dome that's kind of like a wall in a sense. And once they get there, um, the bus doesn't believe anything Abe was saying, like most of the other robots do. So um, Abe picked up this little robotic type head. They think it was a robotic head. Think what it was, and so he tossed the head to the wall. And when he did, the robot head put a big hole in the wall. And so once that is done, he peeped out the hole, and he saw another world from the world they lived in. And that world was nothing like the world that he thought, or should I say, it's a world that he thought, well, he knew that there was another world out there. He knew that he kind of knew that it was. So when he threw that, that robotic head into the wall and put a large size hole in it, he took it, well, not him, but he took a look outside that big hole. That hole was big enough for him to put his head and halfway of his body through. So once he looked through that, once he had a chance to look out into that hole, he saw other, he saw something out of the ordinary. I think he didn't see humans, but he did saw another form of robot or something that was out there, and the robot was a different. from them. The robot was kind of bigger than them. So after he saw all of that, another robot, or should I say, another gigantic robot, came around the corner from where he put the hole in the wall at, and he hurried up and jumped right back into that bus, and that bus, him and that bus, drove so fast to a point where they got out of sight of the robot, because that giant robot was trying to grab the bus, and so they zigzag on their way to where they had to go. But the robot, that gigantic robot with the big hands, almost got him. And so they kept driving, and I think that the bus hit something and it flipped over. Well, actually, what happened was, I think the bus drove. I think, if I'm not correct, I think the bus drove off a cliff. I think it drove off a cliff, and it fell, and it went straight down. And when it went down, it slid, and it flipped over. It flipped over on its back. And once that bus flipped over on its back, Abe got out. And once Abe got out, he tried to get help for the bus. But what Abe didn't know, that he was in another world, because other robots started coming out of the darkness that surrounded the area that they was in. And these robots had red eyes, and these robots, they called them hunger robot, because these robots eat other robots. So they wanted to eat the bus. The bus was a new form of a bus, but the robots wanted to eat that bus. But Abe kind of stopped them in a way from eating the bus. And then all of a sudden, the police came, and these police were different type of police as well. And they had to make sure that the bus didn't get eat, or Abe didn't get touched. So after that came to a head, the police, or should I say, the robotic police, wanted to ask Abe some questions, and Abe tried to get away, but he didn't. The police, or should I say, the robotic police officers, grabbed Abe and threw Abe in the back of a back of a vehicle, should I say, with other robots. And at that point, that's where it ended. But while it ended, there was this other robot that was big enough to pick up the bus and flip it over, and I think they wound up flipping the bus over. But while Abe was gone, the robot, or that bus, had a piece of the bus was still laying out on the ground, and that little piece was actually kind of like in the form of a tablet, and it was laying flat on the ground, and it was screaming for help. You know what I'm saying? And so that's where it ended at. And so this book, this is what I got from it. I mean, I've heard other people tell their version of the book, but that's what I got out of the book when I read it. But like I said, it was slow developing until it got to the midpoint of the book, where Abe was in the bus. That's where it starts to get most of its action from at that point. So this book doesn't have much action. It's pretty much one of those it's a pretty good book. You know, I'm not gonna downgrade it. It's a good book. It's a good read. You know what I'm saying? And you know, like me, I always say that I would prefer to have less words, more action. This book has more words and less action. So it kind of threw me in a loop a little bit. Like I said, the slow part of the beginning of the book was slow, and that's where the loop started for me. And when it got to where Abe got on that bus, that's where it started picking up, and that's when I started getting where I'm going to come from with the book. You know, so most books, you know, jumps out. Some story of the books jump out right away once you get the first read from the beginning to the end. Some are slow developing, and some doesn't have that impact like most reads do. This book, like I said, it's slow. It's slow developing in the beginning of the book. You know what I'm saying? Cause the first person the first thing you know is Abe. Cause when you open up the pages, it opens up to Abe. You know, the robot entity, it opens up with him. You know, where he said, "I'm tired of this effing city." So that's where it picks up. That's where it starts. It starts right there. And like I said, it's slow developing till it gets to where Abe gets on the bus. That's where it picks up at least to me. So that's what I get from this book. And it's a good read. And if I were to give it a good rating, I would give it out of 1 to 10. I would give it a 4.5 because of its slow development read. To me, it's a 4.5. Now, everybody might give it a 5.0 or higher, but to me, I'm going 4.5. I'm sticking with that because it was slow developing. And I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, you know, but like I said, the part I enjoyed it was Abe when Abe got on the bus. That's where it picks up to me. So maybe the second issue might be better. Maybe the second issue may be better. I might get the second issue. It depends on how I feel about the book. I might get the second issue. The second issue is already out, so I have to get the issue and see, do I want to continue reading this book, or do I want to see where it goes? Because right now I want to see where number 2 takes me. This book is just it's more like a beginner's read. So number 2 got to be a little bit better than number 1. Gotta be. So I'm waiting to see where number 2 takes me. So if Destruction Be Your Lot, number 1, Image Comics. It's been out for a month and a half. I've been out since May, but I've been out for a month and a half now, and I've had it for that long. I'm just reading it because I saw somebody else read. I think his name is Sonic. His name is Sonic something. I think that's his name. He had his first read of number 1, and he said it's a great read, and he highly recommend it. I'm not gonna say I highly recommend it because, like I said, it's a slow start read. Maybe it's your cup of tea. Maybe it's not your cup of tea. But I do know for me, it's a 4.5. So I'm gonna say, to me, it's not my cup of. The first issue is not my cup of tea at this moment. Maybe number 2 will be better, and maybe it had more of a push along than a standstill like number 1 when at the beginning of the issue. So that's my emphasis on it. Hope you guys understand where I'm going to come from with this. If Destruction Be Your Lot, number 1 from Image Comics, this is your boy bringing you his review of the book. If you like it, go get it. If you don't like it, then that's your prerogative. I'm out of here. Peace.